Hey, welcome to my channel. I'm Melissa Grace and I've been traveling and painting. Roll the intro. In today's episode, I'm painting in Arkadelphia, Arkansas. And you may not see it on camera, but I'm painting with my cousin, who's watercoloring, my brother who's playing guitar, and my sister who's videoing. So it's a really fun time just for us all to hang out together. It was really sweet. And secondly, I'm painting on the edge of a cliff. Kind of crazy. I really enjoyed it. It was safe, don't worry. But it was really fun and sweet time for us all to be together, and I'm excited to get into this video. So I'm out here today setting up my painting supplies. I brought this easel. It's an easel I got for Christmas a few years back for my sister, and it's simple and it's small and portable, and I brought everything else in this little antique case I had. Thankfully there was these like stools for me to sit on that were perfect. I didn't even really think about where I was gonna sit or stand because my easel's too short to stand really. Okay, I'm out here in Arkadelphia, Arkansas, visiting my brother in college, and this is called the Desoto Bluff Trails, and it just has this nice overlook of I think it's the Ouachita River. I'm not fully sure, but I think that's what this river is. I was right. And there's just this really beautiful scene. So I have my view catcher here, and I just picked this little scene of the water trailing back with the skyline. It's beautiful. So I have myself all set up and I'm gonna get started. So I'm just getting everything ready, picking out my paintbrushes and getting my water cup ready so I can like stir and clean my paintbrushes off. I have this palette and it already has gouache paint on there, so I can use that, like wet it and reuse it, because gouache is similar to watercolor in that way, but I'm also gonna put some more paints on there for like easy mixing. So I have about maybe an hour till like it's dark outside, so this is gonna have to be a faster painting, but I'm excited for the challenge to keep it loose and not so detail oriented. So I'm starting off with a tone of like a light green, which I meant it to be more green than it was, but I actually really like this color. Just a really simple and like faded green, I guess. So now I'm going in with my big shape, which is like laying out where this river is and painting in like a base brown color so I can be ready to paint some things over that. It was actually so pretty out here. It was like just after a rain, so everything was kind of like wet a little bit, and the trees were just so pretty and still, and the sky was pretty. I really loved being here at this time of day. So I'm just continuing to color block here and like fill in this base layer, and I'm adding some darks along this left line, the farthest point of the water, to make a shadow, I guess, and some dark on the other side for trees. Mixing up a green. What I see in the water is not actually more blue, but more green because it's reflecting the trees. Yep, there I go, painting right over those tree reflections. So now I'm mixing up a peachy color that I saw in the water to reflect the clouds that were beginning to like reflect the sunset, which was so pretty. And peach is actually kind of a hard color to mix, so I was actually really happy. Just a little red, white, and yellow, but just a good combination. A little bit more of a gray to that tone. I'm using my brush at a different angle, up and down instead of side to side, to kind of give a water reflection look. I'm not really sure about that. I just kind of was trying something. Later on, I ended up actually going back side to side because I didn't like it. Now I'm painting the horizon line, which was like a dark blue. It's kind of hard to see in the video actually, but I just kind of pronounced it, I guess, to, I don't know, add a little bit more interest to the painting. It was such a pretty blue. Adding a pretty blue to the sky also. The sky is constantly changing, so I kind of had to pick a sky. I actually learned that from a plein air painter who was painting on a street in a city I was at, and he was telling me about having to pick a sky. So you learn something new wherever you go, right? So I'm adding a little bit of that blue back into the water reflection just to add a little bit of cohesiveness to the painting, so it all goes together. So here's where I go up and down again, and then side to side. For these little water reflections, which looking back at it now, I honestly like the up and downs better, but at this time I did not, so I went side to side, and they ended up getting really big, so oh well, you learn something new, you try stuff, it works out, sometimes it doesn't. So right now I'm in my frame, I just had a little bit of the clouds that I chose to paint, so I'm adding just like the tops of like a golden rim of these dark clouds that are in the sky, which were really, really pretty and really fun to watch as they changed as the sky went down. I'm just using the end of my brush here to add some like little green tips to be the like on the edge of the horizon, some little trees I see. Some pretty little trees, some green. And I'm using a light brown to make some like dead trees, but like pretty dead trees in the in the tree zone over there on the right side of the painting. I'm trying to add some depth of color, so picking a lot of different colors to add to this little zone of here with like dark greens and then light browns, just to work in some like depth and interest into the painting, which I actually painted over that dead little tree I did because I decided it wasn't quite time in my layering process to do it. I'm filling in this left side with some gray-green color to imitate the dead trees zone over there. I mean, it's not all dead trees, but I'm just kind of adding a base of that so I can go over and add the ones that are alive. I'm going over to the other side and filling that in too, with just a light gray. I was really leaning into like I felt like chill and mellow were good words to describe like the vibe I was going for with this painting. At this point, the sky was changing like crazy fast, and it was getting dark crazy fast, like decreasing a lot. So I was starting to work a little bit more quickly here. I'm just adding a little branch that was kind of sticking off of the edge of the cliff to kind of add some difference in like perspective and distance. I don't even know what that's called. Little tree reflection in the water. Another little tree. Adding some more shadow and a little more contrast. Now I'm lightening up the sky. Since it got so dark, I realized that I wanted to brighten it up a little bit, just because whenever I first got there, it was bright. And so I was like, oh, just add a little bit more like light yellow to the painting. That will cheer it up. And I think it did, actually. So now I'm going back in and adding the dead tree, the pretty dead tree again. And I like this one much more, obviously, because it was on top of my layering. And I'm just adding like little tiny branches, just giving the idea of these little trees that are around. I'm adding some like bright gray to the very far background, just to like make it look lighter as it gets farther away. I feel like that adds to like distance and stuff in paintings. Now I'm using my finger, as every artist does. At least most artists, or this artist.
I'm lightening up the painting right now because I used a darker color and it doesn't look quite the same as it does right now, this lighting for the sky I'm choosing, but I do want to light this painting up a little bit just because it's a very dark painting right now, and I mean, it's pretty accurate to what I'm seeing currently, but earlier when we got here it was a lot brighter, and I think I just want to add a little more light to this painting to make it a little more, I don't know, happier.
I really like making my paintings happy. That's kind of like my goal, to capture the essence of a place and make it happy, you know?
Like really fast right now. It's gone down like by half in the past like minute. So I think honestly I'm pretty happy with where I'm at. So I think I'm done. So yeah, this was definitely a good practice in keeping it looser. It's definitely a looser painting than I've done before with less detail, but I'm really happy with it. I feel like it captures the scene pretty well. I think I would have added maybe a little bit less color, maybe more contrast, to make it a little bit more easy to understand what it is in the scene. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.